Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast, where we talk about everything dog. Q&As with veterinarian professionals, rescue operators, everyday topics. We cover everything dog on this podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for listening. Now here's that next episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast. This is your host, Brittany, and we have a special guest today. Her name is Chrissy, and she is from All for Pets Jack. So welcome to the episode.
Why, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Chrissy Dullano. I own All for Pets, and I am a positive reinforcement dog trainer.
So tell us a little bit about All for Pets.
We as an I, have a canine activity center. In that canine activity center, we obviously offer a wide variety of canine activities, but predominantly dog training. We do group classes and private sessions. Group classes run in puppy preschool, grade school, high school, and your choice of college.
So they graduate from each level. They do a little graduation.
Yes, they graduate from each level, just kind of like humans and kids.
So does each level of schooling require new tricks, and they have to be able to perform those to graduate?
Essentially, yes. I wouldn't call it tricks. I break it down into basic levels, intermediate levels, and advanced levels.
Okay.
So it's really, there are some tricks involved, I guess you could say, but for the most part, it's easy training, a little bit more difficult training, and very advanced training.
And can any age enter that like preschool level, like even if it's an older dog, a senior dog?
Great question. So puppy preschool is ages 8 to 16 weeks. And then after that, grade school, high school, college, AKC, CGC, any of that is any age.
Oh, okay. And then, so you do classes and then you do individual training. So what do those kind of look like? Like, what's the format of individual training and then the format of the group classes?
Great question. So the concept of the individual training is having it very, very customized training session to exactly fit that dog and that human's needs and wants. So I create a training plan. I have an agenda. I make sure I ask all the right questions on my end going into the session. So when they come to me, I know exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and customize it to fix those exact issues.
Okay. And then what about the classes? What do those look like?
So all of my classes run in 4-week series. So you come back, for an example, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. for the same grade school class, and 1 week piggybacks off of another week. So you learn X amount week 1, and then week 2, we piggyback off of that, make week 1 harder, and in addition to learning some new things, so on and so forth. And then by week 4, you have a pretty advanced trained dog. And my grade school, my high school is unlimited classes. So that means that at the end of the day, you have to walk out with a trained dog. And sometimes it takes more than 1 or 2 tries to get there. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times of coming to school for your dog to start to calm down, to acclimate, to understand, hey, you're in school. Hey, this is fun. You get toys, you get treats, you get fun, you get to learn. And it takes them a couple of rounds to start to get the hang of it. And so once they do, they learn a lot quicker, faster, and it gets fast tracked. So then when they come back for round 2, it goes as much sharper for them.
Okay. And what was your motivation or your driver for starting All for Pets?
So great question. So the name, everybody keeps asking me, why isn't it all for dogs or dog related or dog training, is because I also do other stuff, sub services like pet sit, cat sit, ferret sit, for an example, that I do regularly, in addition to some side grooming services and stuff like that. So it's not just all about dog training. I once started this platform off of the name dream was caring for pets because all I did was pet care, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do all, so I just named it All for Pets.
Okay. And remind me, you are the first indoor positive reinforcement facility in Jacksonville, Florida, correct?
That is correct. And in general, the entire Northeast area.
Okay.
So it's the other surrounding counties and the other surrounding areas. But yes, I am the only indoor dog training center that practices positive reinforcement. You are correct.
And so that kind of leads to the next question. So positive reinforcement, would you identify that as your training methodology?
That is my training methodology. The definition behind the positive reinforcement or the positive reinforcement community essentially means we do not use threats, fear, or intimidation tactics to train a dog or to communicate to them.
That's what I use. No, I'm just kidding. That's what I use on people.
Yes, people may be dogs. There's a better ways.
And then, so I know so I've actually been to some events at All for Pets with rescues, with outreaches. So tell us a little bit about some of the organizations that you work with. And I know just from a conversation that was off air, there's too many to list, but list a couple of those and kind of what you're working on.
Yeah, so I work with FUR, which is Florida Urgent Rescue. I work with London Sanctuary. I work with Pitbull Pit Stop Rescue, and I work with Hope for Pits. Those are my four main top ones that keep giving me their cases. And I mean, what am I working on? I mean, essentially, I'm working on their about half of them. I'm working on their harder cases. The FUR gives me the harder cases. Hope for Pits gives me the harder cases. We're London Sanctuary. Honestly, they give me the easier cases. They give me the puppies straight off the bat. Brand new adopters, brand new to dogs, brand new. They come in, they get the young ones. Hey, get in this group class.
Okay.
And all of them include a rebate on their training. So if you rescue from these organizations and they get their training through me, and we go through a program, at the end of their program and they successfully complete it and graduate, they get their $50 rebate off the training.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So are you working with them only when people have adopted those dogs, or are you also working with them like right when they get the dogs?
I am working with both.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Both.
Okay.
There's that.
Yeah.
Both. I'll just take Florida Urgent Rescue for an example, or for sometimes, they will get a hard case kind of right off the streets and straight into a foster, and I'm working with that foster within that first week to kind of, let's call it, rehabilitate it. On the flip side, again, if somebody adopts and they want extra training above and beyond, we go down that path just the same.
Okay. Do you offer any virtual training?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, for asking. Yes, I do. And I love it. And I wish I got more of it. And so, yes, I do virtual training, whether that be a private session, and my group classes can also have virtual training. I do a live stream for my grade school and my high school classes.
Okay, awesome. So people could be anywhere in the United
100%.
States or anywhere in the world.
Thank you for asking that. That's very, very exciting, and I'm very happy and proud to be offering it, but I'm not getting a lot of buzz from it.
So if you guys are listening and you need training, now you know, and your doggy can graduate.
Yes. And I'm from Minnesota, and I have a lot of Minnesota peeps up there, and I try to get them and encourage them, get in my live stream group classes. That would be amazing.
So kind of switching gears here, and this is going to be a very vague question. Just generally, what tips would you have for dog owners? And I know you probably have a million.
I probably have a million. Yes. I'll give you my top three.
Okay.
How about that? We'll go with my top three. My first one is do your research. Do not impulse control by a dog. Do your research. Understand things like I'll just stick with the number 2 breeds for an example. Frenchies. Understand they come with respiratory issues, skin issues, dietary issues that can be expensive. Understand that when you get a doodle, that perhaps you will end up with a fairly expensive 4 to 6 week grooming bill. Take all that into consideration when doing your research and when choosing a dog. Tip number 2, plan. If you are going to gift a young child, a young dog, or an elderly person a young dog, plan accordingly. 9 chances out of 10, that is going to be more responsibility than what they can handle on their end. So you're going to have to plan for resources to help them maneuver and navigate around that. Tip number 3, get training. Of course, I have to say that because I'm a trainer, but I'll give you some examples of why it's important. Whether it's a baby puppy or an adult or a rescue, get training as soon as possible, day one. I can't tell you how many calls I get where the puppy is 12 weeks old and they have the expectations that these dogs are adult dogs, 2-year-old dogs, 5-year-old dogs with unrealistic expectations. On the flip side, it works the same way where I get these calls and they're quote unquote 18 months, so they're still a puppy, as an excuse for their misbehavior. When in fact, let's face it, they're a year and a half. It's like they're in 12th grade with a 3rd grade education. So get training. That helps you get you set up for success.
Yeah, I think those are all really good tips. And I don't think a lot of people think about those, especially when people are gifting dogs. You know, gifting a dog is usually not even a good idea. But if you are going to do it, it's your child, your mother, your grandfather. I think that is a good idea to have a training plan in place for that person and that dog. Otherwise, they might end up at the shelter like so many do.
Yep, 100%. They're not prepared. They're not financially ready. They're not mentally ready. They're not physically ready to be able to handle such a young dog or such a big responsibility. Exactly right.
And then doing the research, you know, people who get small toy dogs don't understand a lot of their health issues later in life, or people get a German Shepherd because they saw a cool one in a movie and they don't understand what they need to do for that dog, whether it's exercising them or joint supplements down the road, you know, from A to Z. So I think those 100%. Are really good tips. Even if you've owned a dog before, you still probably need to do your research when getting another one.
100%. Oh, and bonus tip, do your research before you get litter mates. There's something called litter mate syndrome. And it is very, very common and almost inevitable among litter mates. So one of two things happen is the litters will either be really, really, really bonded and too bonded that their humans don't exist. And or you bring them around, say, small children or other dogs, they'll tend to like be so bonded they'll gain up on them. On the flip side, it could go the opposite direction where they're just constantly fighting all the time, constantly arguing all the time, bickering all the time, constantly competitive with each other all the time. You just can't, break them up. There are ways around it, and there's a lot of things you can do to avoid it and prevent litter mate syndrome. But it is a serious thing, and all the things to do to prevent it from happening is an extremely large amount of work. Huge amount of work.
I didn't know that. I've never had the opportunity for litter mates. Thank goodness, because I would bring all 5 or 6 of them home. So that's noted. So that will prevent me from having 10 dogs at one time.
Yes, absolutely.
So where can people find you? What's your website and then your social media handles?
Yes, thank you. My website is allforpetsjacks.com, which is allforpetsjacks.com, allforpetsjacks.com, and my handle on Instagram is allforpetsjacks. Facebook is allforpetsjacks. Both of them are FUR.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to hear, if you know of any guests that would be good for the show, or if you yourself want to be a guest, please reach out to us. Send us an email at canineculturepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on social media. Thank you for listening, and please share this with any of your dog-loving friends.